Boom, sucker! What's up, everybody? I know you never get tired of listening to the stupidest phrase in Star Wars The Old Republic history. How you doing? Awall here, and I'm hosting Project TOR live on my live stream, and I've got a massive team of co-hosts with me, as always, and a special guest from the community. But I warn you guys, his head is going to be flopping around all over the place, so be sure to watch this video if you're watching on YouTube in 720 at the very least. Prepare yourselves. Here we go. Gonna bring up the main grid. Boom. Here's everybody. Starting up in the top left-hand corner. I got MBD, my boy Danny. How you doing? Co-host on the show. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, man. I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Right on. And this is the discussion show, as you know. So we have another co-host up in the top right-hand corner directly above me, Vertec. Producer at thetorsyndicate.com. Recently upgraded from intern so that he could do more work for free. How you doing, my friend?
Fantabulous. And actually, I didn't do it so I could do more work for free. I did it for, well, titles are good, right?
Titles are good. You're gonna get your founder title,
buddy.
Yeah.
Right on, in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Lord Hammer, leader of Guild Umbra, master of all things nailing, the darkest part of the dark, cloaked in darkness. How you doing, Hammer?
Darky, dark.
Dark.
I'm doing well. Had a interesting day at work and just happy to relax to talk about some SWTOR with all you guys. Heck
yeah. And in the center of the screen, crushing all of our windows, I'm going to go ahead and pull him up right now. Boom, here he is, Sydor from Keyboard Heroes. And as you can see, his head will start flopping. Do not be alarmed. Yes, he is a crafty Canadian, and he's actually in charge of the largest Canadian Star Wars The Old Republic fan site out there. And actually, he's got a Canadian guild as well. A really cool guy. Actually met him at New York Comic Con. How you doing, Sydor?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm doing good. Good to be here.
Right on.
Looking forward to just the next hour of being surrounded by you guys. I feel a little intimidated. All you Guild Umbrites all the way around me.
Yeah, right. You should be intimidated. We take people down. Okay, it's Dark Side Choices nonstop. I'll send you to Drummond Koss after Black Talon. MBD will as well. DK, baby. All right. All right. So before we dive into our news and discussion and giveaways and mailbag and all that fun community stuff we do on the show, I want to find out what exactly you do all the way up there in Canada. I know that you guys live in igloos and you like hockey. But, all right, I'm going to stop insulting you on your Canadianness. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull up your website, keyboardheroes.ca. Going to pull that up for everybody to take a look. Why don't you just tell us about your website and what you guys do?
Well, yeah, keyboardheroes.ca is where we run our guild out of. We are the Keyboard Heroes. We've been running a podcast for, I think, 37 weeks now, give or take a week or two around Christmas. Been lucky enough to meet, I think, all of you guys in person at New York Comic Con. Love being part of the community. We just keep it going strong. Podcast every week. You can catch us on Bootleg Radio on Thursdays. I think we are on at 6 p.m. or whenever Brayhan decides to air us. It could go either way.
Right, and for folks that don't already know, Bootleg Radio is a nonstop 24-hour, essentially, Star Wars The Old Republic podcast radio station. And so you guys are, basically you're saying that you guys are part of their nonstop rotation of shows, right?
Yeah, so you can catch our new episode every Thursday at 6 Eastern, or you can catch us on the rotation. Older episodes will play through when first airs are not on.
Right on. And I've got your website right here. Your podcasts are available on iTunes, are they not?
Yep, they're only available on iTunes because Zune does not support my region. I'm in Microsoft's Red Zone. Yeah.
Microsoft's Red Zone?
They can't submit an RSS feed from Canada. Doesn't happen. Not a thing.
What? They don't trust you?
We're crafty. They don't understand why my head isn't attached to the rest of my body, and they won't allow the RSS feed to go up. So.
Hey, I understand. If anybody eats that much craft dinner, they can't be trusted. So, I'm sorry, KD. I will speak in your native tongue.
KDA.
Right on. All right. Enough. That's like I just spent all of my Canadian jokes all at once. So anyway, guys, I've posted up links to both the Keyboard Heroes website and the iTunes link right there in the comments. Here on the live stream. Also, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can catch those links in the video description below. Very cool. If you are Canadian and you're playing Star Wars The Old Republic, you need to hook up a Sydor over here, and you need to hook up with Callan as well. Very cool guys running the guild. Just a great way to get involved in the Canadian SWTOR community. Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
And he agrees. Okay, excellent.
Come join us.
Join me. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get into the news, and we're gonna drag Sydor along with us and find out what his Canadian perspective on things. And the first piece of news this week, and you know, it's not necessarily a huge piece of news per se, but some things came into effect, and we got to see how they work. Here's what I'm talking about, guys. Patch 1.1.1 with GCD tweaks, PvP, and more. And the big items from this one, the big ticket items, obviously the one everybody's talking about, that Imperial Agent nerf. It has taken effect, and I'd be curious to know, we'll go ahead and use that as our first discussion topic, and I'm going to kick that one straight over to Vertec. The Imperial Agent nerf, now that it's come into effect, are you feeling it? Are you feeling the hatred and anger from BioWare?
I'm feeling the hatred and anger just from everybody just using the word operative. Everyone thinks it's all operatives that are overpowered. But to be honest, in Warzones, I'm not really noticing too much of a difference. I mean, I still get hit pretty hard by the guys, and then again, I think one of the operatives from our guild says that it hurt his damage. It cut it almost in half. So
wow. Now
I feel sorry for those guys.
Are you talking about a gentleman whose name starts with the letters O and P?
O and P, yes.
Okay, all right, no problem. So you haven't really been feeling it because you're namely you're a healer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I don't touch the DPS at all because, well, I like healing. It's a whole lot more fun, I think.
Fair enough, fair enough. I see a comment here from Zenon saying that patch 1.1.1 in the comments here on the live stream, IA's got corks on their knives, and Scoundrel's guns are now made out of pillows. Which is good because they're hobos with shotguns, right, Hammer?
That's exactly right. Get it right.
That is exactly right. So let me ask you guys, in PvP, since this patch has dropped, and I'll just kind of open this up and you guys can speak up, have you guys noticed that operatives just aren't straight melting your face off immediately with that front-end burst damage now that this has been implemented?
The thing I've noticed is that now it's, at least for me, it's somewhat of a reasonable fight. I mean, I still probably get on just because I'm a tank, so I can't do enough DPS to kill them before they can kill me, but the thing is now it's not like face plant, 60% of your health is gone before you even can get up, and then by the time you start being able to hit some defensive stances or something, you know, you're just so now I at least have a chance to try to defend myself before I get owned. So
fair enough, fair enough. And I know that you were you had some strong words about this type of nerf last week, Danny. Do you still have the same feelings about just a straight smack in the face with the Nerf bat without any back-end help? Have your feelings changed?
Well, I haven't gotten to do really any PvP since the patch came out, so I don't know if I see much difference. I didn't see a big problem with operatives to begin with. They needed a little bit of a nerf, but like I said last week, this was just too much at once. What's going to happen is you nerf them so huge like that, and then they're underpowered, and then you buff them a little bit, and then you buff them a little bit. When something's underpowered, it's a really rough situation because you buff them a little bit, and you buff them a little bit, and then you get them to that right spot, but everyone still thinks they're underpowered, so everyone will complain and complain and complain, and then you give them a buff again, and then they're OP again.
Yep.
So it's just a really delicate balancing act, and they need to do little things at a time. You don't two big giant changes, and you don't have a control. You don't know which one really helped or which one was too much.
Fair enough, fair enough. Audience, I want to know what your opinion is on this as well. But I have to agree with your logic in that if you're going to cut them off on the front end with that burst damage, give them a little bit of help on the back end then. And, you know, maybe lessen the front end nerf and give them a little help on the back end, balance the class out. But maybe they just want this class to remain as a front end damage type of class and maybe not with too much sustained damage. What I've heard from KOT, one of our guild members, is that with his PvE spec, he can actually do just fine in PvE damage, and there's not really too much of an issue with him with only having burst damage. So I see some sort of conflicting opinions on that, and audience, I'd be curious to know what you think. Sydor, do you have an opinion on this, or are you just basically like, yay, operatives aren't OP anymore?
Well, I mean, as an operative,
I didn't know you played operative. I should have gone to you first. My bad, dog.
But I'm kind of, I think, in the same boat as Vertec. I'm an operative that isn't spec'd for damage. I'm a medic, so I still just get rolled when people actually find me. As long as I can kind of hide, then I'm pretty good. If I don't get ganked by agents in Hotball, this is going to be okay for me.
Right, fair enough.
It's a big nerf, but I mean, it doesn't really affect me, so I'm not going to QQ about it.
Fair enough, fair enough. And, this is, one balance change is nothing to QQ about. One person is posting in the comments here, Skozar, saying, if they can take you down from 100% to 20% before you can get your face up off the ground, then obviously something needed to occur. So, yes, but everybody agrees with that. Let's see over time if the operatives are still sustainable, given this nerf, and then BioWare will respond accordingly. Any closing thoughts on that? Otherwise, let's move on to the next piece.
The only I have, or add to pretty close, is so you say the sustainability, which I do agree with, but what would it be? Would it just be to either enhance their their rifle or blaster rifle that they have, so that I guess they're not really like a trooper, but they at least can go toe to toe a little bit more? Would that be what would balance it out? Or because think about it, if you're using a knife, I mean, the only other thing they can do is try to shoot at you from range. So what would be the answer in your opinion?
Well, my thought would be the best way to do that you lower the damage, but you lower cooldowns and lower energy cost at the same time. So you're doing more in a greater period of time. There's less downtime after your initial burst, but your initial burst isn't as big.
Fair enough. Yeah. Whether that be with a knife attack or a gun attack or whatever, you need to have more sustained damage, maybe more damages over time or something like that. Whatever mechanic they want to put into place. But it's just the general principle of you need more damage than just some upfront burst in order to be viable in PvE. So that makes sense. All right, let's move on to the next thing, which was ridiculously annoying. Patch 1.1.1 fixed for us, and that was anytime you were in a ops group, you got 1 million red messages that popped up on your screen regarding your companion. How many of you guys are happy that this is fixed at this point? I couldn't be the leader of an ops group in live stream because it would just fill up my screen with red text. So Hammer. Now, I basically, and what I did quite often was pawn off leadership on Hammer so that he would have to experience it the most. So I'm kind of disappointed I can't screw you over like that, but obviously you're happy, huh?
Yes, being a tank who doesn't have any ranged real ability, it makes it a lot easier because as a tank you gotta target something, get to it, and then chase it around while you're trying to attack it. So having all of this text of red just really would make things a lot more difficult than it needed to be. So that was one thing that I have tested and can say is great now that it's fixed. So we did go on a raid, had no problems at all, and it just makes life so much better.
Fair enough, fair enough. Any closing thoughts on that? I think we can unanimously agree that was retarded annoying, and we're all happy that it's gone.
Yes.
Ding! Let's move on to the next piece of news, and yes, the audience is agreeing, SWTOR Digest and Nizmonic agreeing. Yes, that was annoying as well as Blue Road Sign. Yes, thank you, BioWare, we appreciate it. And speaking of good stuff from BioWare, big news this week from pulling this from AskAJedi.com. 1.7 million active subscribers, and it's growing on the EA earnings call. Basically, the piece of news here is saying this has been extremely good news, as EA announced during their earnings conference the Star Wars: The Old Republic has sold over 2 million copies and currently has over 1.7 million active subscribers. That is fantastic. And a lot of people have been debating, okay, well, a bunch of people bought the game, but they're not actually subscribing to it now, and yada yada. So this proves that the vast majority of people that bought this game, or roughly 85% of people that bought this game, have actually followed through and gotten the subscription. So do you guys feel like these numbers are the type of numbers that BioWare and EA needs to see to, to help them recoup their costs from development? Or were you guys expecting more or less from launch as far as numbers are concerned?
To be honest, I was expecting a little bit less than this, but a lot of people were saying they're expecting about 3 million after 1 year. But it looks like that's almost the track it's on. If anything, maybe a touch more than that if they solve some of these issues that have people complaining.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised that it's as high as it was. I knew it was going to be high probably over a million, but TOR 2 was going to happen until the end of the year. It will be all about how they can hold it, and getting to 3 million I think is totally viable. It's all about, they say in March is first really big content patch. It's all about that big new content patch that comes out with the new raid and get these UI enhancements out and all this new stuff. How they handle all that and how quickly and often that stuff's coming out, that's everything right now.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, the first handful of months have got to be critical, right, Hammer?
I mean, that's totally right. I mean, you know, MBD hits it right on the you know, hits it right on the head, because it's now 2012. We've got people who are on, you know, their children are now playing MMOs, or their grandkids or whatever. I mean, you got like, what, 20 years of MMOs out. So having 7 years of WoW as the baseline, which is the standard. Before that, it was EverQuest. You know, you have a mature MMO gamer base out there that have a level of expectation, whether that be right or whether that be wrong. So there are just things that they expect. I thought that the numbers were going to go up and they were going to kind of crash, and so from what I've seen, it looks like it's thinned out. What I hear is that basically people are starting to cross-load and jump to different servers to populate certain areas where their friends are. But, you know, that's kind of what I've seen over the last 5 years and all the other MMOs that have kind of come out. They come from WoW as a group, they come in, they blow to max level, they knock down all the raids, they quote-unquote dominate an area as PvP, and then that's when it's gonna be, you know, that's normally within the first month to 6 weeks to 2 months period of time, and that's a very delicate period of time, because that's the point in time in which that guild that's already established in WoW or EverQuest, but normally WoW, is gonna say, either this is going to be the next best thing or the next big thing, or we're going back over to WoW, which is, you know, comfortable.
Well, we're kind of... Uh-oh, Hammer went robot on us. Hammer, you went robot on us. You're kind of cutting into actually to a discussion topic that we're going to talk about a little bit later, about are people QQing and what do they need to stick around with Star Wars: The Old Republic. So I want you to save that thought, and I want you to tell us about that one when we bring up that discusussion topic, because you're taking down a yellow brick road towards a whole nother issue that I want to discuss a little bit more later. Any other
Just
thoughts?
sit down and shut up, Hammer.
No, I want you to talk about that later, because I think that's good. Any other thoughts on 1.7 million right now? Otherwise, well, those thoughts are probably going towards the other topic of how is this game going to do in the future. So, I think, Sydor, any thoughts on that? Does this surprise you? Were you expecting this kind of reaction coming out the gate?
Well, I mean, 1.7 is pretty good. I mean, I think they were projecting over 1 million sales from launch. So, I mean, to grow that a little bit and to keep them as subscribers is great. I think I heard when they were still in development that they needed like 500,000 to break even. So, I mean, the quicker they recoup their costs, the more eager they're going to be to start kind of pushing out more and newer and better content. So, no, I mean, this is great. You know, keep on coming, SWTOR.
All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and move to the next piece of news, which this one, I just cut you off, Hammer, and now I'm going to bring you back from the dead. I'm going to pull it up on the screen right now, and this is the something that you have a lot of experience with, being that you're one of the folks that run the biggest community site, torsyndicate.com, and you've been to Austin yourself. This is the first ever Guild Summit, March 4th through the 6th in Austin, with Stephen Reid and David Bass doing a Q&A on this, and I will just hand this over to you. Tell us, what the heck is going on here? And question number one, what the heck is going on here? And question number two, how come Guild Umbra is not representing, baby?
So basically what I can deduce from obviously reading and talking to some folks is that they wanted to really find out what the guilds are thinking and what are the things that they're looking at, and not from the perspective of, you know, I like this and so I'm going to post about it. They want to know about groups that can basically call in, you know, 10, 50, 100 accounts basically, and move in mass, right? And so that's a lot of revenue right there. So they want to find out, well, what is it that guilds really want? What are some of the things that we're doing right? What are some of the things that we're doing wrong? And what are some of the things that are going to kind of keep you long term? Because, you know, the thing is regardless, take the large amount of people that do bring revenue in, which are all the individuals that join, that then may join and splinter off and join a guild. But guilds that are around prior to the game move in mass usually, and they will splinter and they will fragment, but usually there will be some center of gravity of people that will stay and live on. So you might have the bulk be in WoW, maybe 30 people go to Rift, maybe 30 people go to TOR, and then those groups kind of bud and they expand, and that's how you get these multi-gaming guilds, right? Old Timers Guild's a great example.
Yeah.
So Carla from Crawling Run Radio, she runs that guild in our server, Sith Meditation Sphere.
Old Timers Guild represent, shout out. Anyway.
Yep. Yeah. So the thing is, but where I was going earlier is when these guilds move in bulk, in mass, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 accounts, right? The syndicate is so big as a guild. They actually have their own convention in Austin every year, and they invite game companies to their hotel event to have the game company pitch their game to their guild. That's how big. That's how much money that they can bring when they move a guild in mass.
Well, are these the caliber of guilds that are going to be attending this event? Are these like big ass guilds like that, or is BioWare like trying to foster and help the smaller ones grow? I mean, tell me what's the scope here?
So they've invited, they hand-selected some guilds, and then everyone else, they're saying you can basically apply. So I applied to see if we can go, or actually I'll probably try to send a representative to go, and we'll try to collect money to get them to go. But basically, bottom line it up.
Send Awall. I'm sorry.
But the bottom line it up. After that first month or two, if you have a very organized guild, they're going to get to the end game and they're going to start the raiding. They're going to do PvP and they're going to do the crafting, and they're going to check out all the systems that are going to basically make them determine around 6 weeks to 2 months if this is going to be it. And they're going to channel back to the mother, back to the mother game if it fragmented, or they're just going to know and they're going to say yes or no. And that's the reason why you'll see big guilds come in and you'll see them just kind of leave, that kind of thing.
Fair enough.
And so they're at a very tenuous point in time because the game is very fun. The story is amazing. They have little things that they need to tweak. I wouldn't say they're broken. I would say there's just a lot of things that they need to probably pay more attention to. And so that's going to be the litmus test in March when they release it. Some of the things probably should have been there, but it's these little things, these little features, these non-game breaking things that people want, because that's what takes you from an advanced MMO like a WoW that's mature to being pulled back a few years to going back to having your training wheels put back on you.
Right, and people don't like wearing training wheels after they've been riding on a Harley Davidson for 7 years or for 5 years or whatever. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Exactly. So, okay. That's a fair enough point. Anybody from the audience or any of your guilds going to Austin? Are you going to get to check this thing out? So let us know. And so, Umbra, what are you going to do to get us in?
Well, I have applied to see, so I'm going to see if I get accepted. And we will probably send a representative to go down for us, and then we'll try to raise some money to try to help subsidize their trip. Because the one thing that they've said, unlike the fan summits, is the people that are selected to go, because it's invitation only, have to provide their own travel, food, accommodations, everything. So essentially the only thing you're getting is the chance to be able to get into the building and talk to these guys.
My cat right now is telling me that we need to get in. So Stephen Reid and David Bass, if you're watching this, you need to take notice. All right, fair enough. Well, this is a cool event, and I think that it's really awesome that a company like BioWare is going to host something like this and really pay attention to guilds. They've been paying attention to guilds quite a bit since the beginning with the guild pre-launch program and that type of thing. Is the Keyboard Heroes, is your Crafty Canadian guild getting inside, or are you guys going?
Yeah, I think we're going to look to apply. I don't think that we've decided who's going to go yet, but I'll see if we can send stock out there, eh?
Sounds good. I'm all
about
it. I'm all about it,
New
bro.
dude about it.
Heck yeah. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's move on to the next piece of news here. Sydor's news, and this is, well, this isn't Sydor's news, but it's news from the dev tracker, and I'm pulling this up right now. Something that was supposedly fixed, but wasn't actually, and it was a major psych out, evidently, huh? Tell us about this, Sydor.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the biggest complaints that we get from all the guys who are level 50 in our guild is that they can't get credit for winning their war zones. So, the problem with that is, like, I guess, at 50, there's these dailies and there's the weeklies that you need to complete, and part of that is getting 3 and 9 wins in your war zones, respectively. And it was in the patch notes. Now you can get, proper credit. And then one day later, Joe Beth Gonzalez had to come on and do some pretty. I don't want to call it second rate, but it looked like it was just kind of mailed in PR saying, you know, like after some investigation, there was some issues. It turns out we didn't all the way fix this, and we didn't even mean to say we fixed it. We just don't really know what's going on.
Fair enough.
Which just quite frankly sucks, because it is hard now. It's hard enough to try to get 3 wins in a row in a day, which is kind of crazy in and of itself. But to now just not give people credit, and you've had it on your live stream where we'd be doing match after match after match. We'd win like 6 in a row just to get credit for 2 or 3. And
yep.
You know, at the end of the day, people want their loot. You want to get your little purple bag, you know, the purple drink. And if you don't get your bag, you get pissed off. People want their loot.
I want my purple drink, son. Absolutely.
There's just certain things you don't mess with. You don't mess with people's family, their money, and their time. And when you're messing with their loot, that's basically like messing with their money and their time, because you know they just invested X amount of time and X amount of heartache to try to get this. They did their part. Now they want their stuff, and you know, not holding it. And of course, what are you going to get from customer service? First, they're going to contact you a week later. And then they're going to just give you a letter like, well, we're looking into this.
Oh, dang, you tell them, Hammer.
Thanks. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is.
This is Protocol Droid CV308.
Oh, my God. Protocol Droid, I want to punch that email in the face. Unfortunately, I'd be destroying my monitor.
I haven't had a single problem with the game answered, fixed, or rectified in a timely manner, nor fixed, period, ever, at all, in any shape, form, or fashion. So, whatever.
I actually have. I got a problem fixed 1 day after. It was amazing.
What was your issue?
My dark side bar was just stuck. No matter what I did, I was completing quests and not quests I'd done before. Completing quests for dark side points, and it would just not go past 9100. I put in a ticket, and then the next day I got a response saying that they were looking into it and they think they solved it, and then it just started moving again.
Wow.
And I was in shock.
Wow,
I was mostly in shock that I got a response in a day.
Right, that's very, very fast. That's especially for a game like this that's getting so much traffic. A comment here from the audience on the live stream is that he got who is this? I'm sorry, I missed it. He got a reply back, but it came back in German. Says running precious. So he's like, what the hell? It's like your problem has been fixed. He's like, I don't know. So he tried to run it through Babelfish, and he couldn't find out how the hell to actually fix his problem. Very, very nice.
That might have been Conk who answered that. Remember Conk, who used to do the TOR Syndicate early on in the early days? He actually got a job with BioWare too. So now 2 of the folks that were on TOR Syndicate are now working at BioWare.
See, that's how you do. You raise them up, and you make them big. Vertec, I saw you with a cyborg face earlier. Are you okay?
I'm okay now. A little bit of the purple drink got to me and kind of messed it all up.
It's that purple drink.
Take it away.
Purple drink.
We got 5 white boys sitting here talking about how they know about purple drink on this cast. You guys don't know nothing about purple drink. All right.
He's got that purple drink.
Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and move into the next segment, which is going to be community discussion. And this is what I cut you off a moment ago, Hammer, because I wanted you to share your thoughts on this topic. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up right now. Rage! F. You. People raging. Star Wars The Old Republic just came... Oh yeah, there's a certain number of them to make it proper. People are raging about Star Wars The Old Republic, talking about how they're going to QQ, talking about how they're going to this, how they're going to that, all that stuff. You know, typical stuff that you see in MMOs, and it's ridiculous. People saying that they're going to leave, and I haven't seen any evidence that people are going to leave anytime soon. So I'm going to open the floor up. I'm going to kick it over to Hammer first and let you finish your point about this. But question number 1, do you think people are actually QQing and raging and leaving Star Wars The Old Republic after 5 weeks? And question number 2, what do you think about this whole situation? Do you think it's just typical MMO stuff, or are there actual legitimate issues with SWTOR that could cause a mass exodus or could cause major stunts in this game's growth moving forward? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, so I think it's a combination of the two. I mean, I think, you know, it's an MMO, so people are going to complain, especially if they PvP. Oh, it's not balanced. Got it. I mean, that's in MMO. It's never going to be. It's kind of like MBD said. It's going to be a consistent trying to balance it, and then it'll balance, and get imbalance, and then they have to rebalance it. So that's the baseline of it being balanced. In terms of people rage quitting, sure, tons of people are doing it, and tons of people are joining and starting to play the game. So that's kind of offsetting it.
Right.
The big thing is going to be those people who are, like I'm saying, they're these because we're all experienced MMO players. Everyone here and everyone in the chat, everyone listening, probably, if you care enough to watch this, are experienced and you're interested in about getting better. So these groups of people have this expectation of these things. They're not game breakers, but they're things that you expect, like a bartender and customizable UI and all these little things that you like to make you feel like a rock star, so you can get all your stuff optimized to have that high-end top experience.
Experienced players' expectations are through the roof because they've seen the best already. So coming into a game like this, they have very high expectations. And so could I sum up your thoughts on this? Because I know you and I have talked offline about this. Could I sum up your thoughts with, okay, so we've all rolled in the Mercedes-Benz, and you know, don't you dare try to put me in a stripped-down manual shift without air conditioning Toyota Corolla?
That's really what it kind of boils down to, and to take it one step. A lot of people are willing to accept it because they want to see the things to come. We're in that little window, like I said, so March needs to hurry up and get here. We're in the precipice of that window where those certain guilds or those numbers, if something doesn't happen right at that point, that will be the point that I am forecasting that you will see numbers drop. Now, that'll be the first dip, which is in every MMO. You always have it come up like Rift, come up, then dip, and then kind of hurt along to get somewhere. That will be that big litmus test and that first big drop relative to how and what they do with whatever happens in March.
So the next few months are critical. I'm going to go ahead and put a pause on you for just a moment and give it over to Sydor. What are your thoughts on this? Basically, Hammer saying the next few months are critical. People are willing to give it a chance, but yeah, there's a lot of features that aren't in place that we're all used to from the past, and so over the next couple months, it's critical to give people faith that these types of features are going to be implemented in a timely manner. So, Sydor, what do you think about this whole situation? Do you think people are QQing, and is this a critical time right now?
Yeah, there's definitely some QQ, but I mean, some of it's kind of warranted. There are things that we've come to expect just from being in that MMO that had all that stuff that we love to have so much. But I mean, some of that stuff has become kind of the baseline for MMOs now. I mean, if you look at Rift and the way that they implemented their UI, they did a great job, and they took a lot of stuff that people learned from WoW. I mean, even if you looked at the Coming Up in TOR video, that customizable UI looked a lot like the way you customize your UI in Rift. So I mean, I think that, like, if they can get some of that stuff and that functionality that people want in that first big content patch, it's going to keep those people who are already here, and it's going to make those people who are kind of skeptical and come over and say, all right, this is the kind of stuff that I want.
Yeah.
Even little quality of life things, like there are some UI frame issues, and even some of the way that you interact with the game, that doesn't always seem like it's really kind of clipping along at 100% yet.
That's very true. 100% definitely not. I would agree with that. And there was one comment here where someone was saying, I'm sorry, Big Higgs in the live stream comments. This is a discussion topic, guys, so I want to hear your comments. Whoa, there's a lot of comments there. All right. He's saying that he just started playing a week ago, and he's taken back by the lack of players. And that might be a breaking point for TOR, he's saying. So 1.7 million ain't enough for him. Maybe his server's underpopulated or something like that. That's an interesting point I haven't heard before. Let me go ahead and kick this over to MBD. MBD, what are your thoughts on this issue?
Well, yeah, it's like basically what everyone said. They need to there's a lot of features that are missing, and a lot of features that are just not implemented right. And they're not broken, but they're just not right. They're not there. And these next few months are big. We can't be waiting 6 months for the UI customization. I'm upset having to wait 3 months. And as far as actually people leaving, your question was, are people QQing, are people raging, are people leaving? The answer is yes, yes, and probably not.
Okay.
Because generally, I would say that if you're going to actually quit the game and like really quit the game and leave because you're frustrated, 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to post on the forums. You're just going to quit. You're just going to cancel your subscription.
Right, you just don't care. You just, at that point, you don't care enough to share your opinion. That's a really good point.
Right, exactly. So people are going to bitch, and they're going to bitch about the PvP in particular. I think I watched Yahtzee did of Zero Punctuation did a review of TOR today, and he said basically cows moo, dogs bark, MMO players say that the PvP is unbalanced. That's just the way it is. And
it's a great video, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
yeah, you should totally do that. It's pretty accurate and really funny, as are all his videos. But so that was pretty accurate, and I'll add a fourth one on there that MBD is going to bitch about the UI and lack of mods until they give it to me, and I will complain about it every single week until they give me everything I want.
Very, very nice. That's how you do. Vertec, you've heard everybody's thoughts here so far. What do you think about this issue? Are you ready to QQ, Vertec? I know you're a very volatile person who just will go off the cuff and go crazy. Like throw a cyborg face over his face or something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I exploded this drop of a dime. Drop of a dime. No, like you said, it's exactly that. People are going to rage and complain if their specific issue isn't addressed immediately. If it's not, it's going to be, oh, well, they don't care, they don't listen to us, they don't blah, 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 yada, yada. I heard it all before, but those same people are going to still be there 6 months later. I'm going to leave if, and they just don't, because they know they know it's still good. It's just their specific one issue that's the most important ever has not been addressed.
Wow.
I really
Fair
made it
enough.
this time.
Let me go ahead and bring up a comment here from the audience. A lot of people are discussing right now how, and this is something you told me about an offline conversation, Hammer. You know, or that you mentioned earlier here. A lot of people are re-rolling their Imperial characters as Republics on different servers, which is changing server load significantly right now, probably because of the massive PvP imbalance and the fact that queue times are so hardcore, and a lot of Imperials are thinking, I'm gonna switch over so I can get that insta-queue. So Hammer, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that this is the mass exodus from Imperial that maybe will bring balance to the Force?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's common on a lot of MMOs for people to join a server and then they see the action that's happening on server X. So if you get enough, the people together, then they'll go over there, and then they might not like it and they come back. I've seen that. So that's kind of common. What I really kind of think, to your point, is I think a lot of people are going to servers where they think there's just going to be more action. The other thing I also think is that I don't necessarily know that for all the hype about the guild pre-launch thing, I don't really know what that did in terms of because the alliance that they set up, the alliances and the adversaries, I have seen nothing come of that. I'm not going to say that it was not a bad idea. I'm not going to say it was a bad attempt, but I have seen zero come of that. I see no point.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. I mean, I guess that system, to just elaborate on that system was obviously intended to make sure that your allies and adversaries are on the same server. But you're suggesting, okay, there were other systems that they intended to have in place to go along with this. Like maybe you could queue up versus your adversaries or something like that. Is that what you had in mind when you saw those types of features?
I was hoping that that's what it meant. Or let's say that we're getting attacked. We'd have some kind of alliance chat kind of system or something, But long story short, they loaded us, and guess what? Our adversary's not there, so we had to find somebody new to hate, right?
Right.
And then we've
got a lot of hate to get out.
and then we have an alliance, and then guess what? Our alliance partner never talks to us. We have no way of communicating.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you who their guild leader is. I mean, if I cared enough to go look it up, I could probably find it, but I don't.
Server forums. Just look at R through THA, and then go ahead and find the... Hold on, there's like 50 threads there. Hold on, let me find it for you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so there's nothing that's there to help me as a guild leader talk to my quote-unquote adversary. Oh, by the way, there's no mechanism in game that even tells me where adversaries or where alliances, because if you go to the website, I don't even think our page is there anymore, or if it is back, I don't know what to do with it. So I'm just trying to say they were doing something, and it seemed like it was going down a path, and I just don't see it anymore. I don't know what it's doing, and the system in game, I'm not going to say it was a failure. I'm not going to say it's broken. I'm just going to say, if it's doing something or it had an intention, someone needs to explain it to me.
Fair enough. That seems fairly reasonable. And by the way, I'm seeing a lot of comments here from folks in the audience talking about various balance issues, and especially PvP keeps coming up. so many PvP-oriented players, the PvP-oriented players seem to be the ones that are the most upset right now, and I guess that are complaining the most. Saying, here's a comment, oh, never mind. There's so many comments going off right now, I can barely keep up. But basically, his comment was saying that the PvP elements in this game and the mistakes and the underdevelopment of PvP and SWTOR upon launch is what he thinks is the reason that people would start QQing. Now, of course, we haven't seen evidence that people are QQing, so I think this is a big posture effect. But PvP imbalance and that type of thing, and people are complaining about specific issues they're having in PvP. So, guys, real quick, your thoughts on PvP. Do you guys feel like PvP is grossly unbalanced and underdeveloped at this point, or do you feel like it's good to go for now, and you know, you're good with it, and you can roll with the current system for a few more months? Or are you? Or, I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts of QQ, or is PvP related to that?
Well, I wouldn't say it's not grossly unbalanced. It might be grossly underdeveloped. Maybe not grossly. It's certainly underdeveloped. There needs to be a couple more war zones, I think. Maybe the system for gaining loot is just terrible and ridiculous. I don't know what that is. They need to fix that.
You talking about that purple bags thing where you randomly get a purple drink and you never know what's going to be inside?
Yeah, and you might not have anything, and then it might give you gear, but otherwise it'll just give you tokens for gear that's less than the gear you could actually randomly get. So, yeah, I don't even understand it.
Yeah.
So, and as far as balance is concerned, that is, I mean, PvP balance in any game it's a living, breathing thing, and it is never going to be perfectly balanced, and it's constantly going to be a rotation thing.
Sure.
So
I love that. It's tokens for gear that's less than gear that you could randomly get, and I mean, it's almost like that in raids too, because you're sitting there raiding, trying to get something, you know, this item at the end of the day, and you get these tokens, and you're like,
How many of these?
It drops colony gear, but then gives you Taiwanese tokens, but you need a bazillion of them for some reason.
Yeah, you know, you get these.
By the time you get that many tokens, you've got a full set of the gear better than that.
Right.
So I guess you can
exactly.
buy your companion
It's
something
like,
nice.
I really need how many of these? I got 3 of these little flavor crystals, and I need 200 flavor crystals to get an item. Like, so if I run this flashpoint,
It's so many.
It's so many flavor crystals, bro. Oh my gosh.
I like that you call them flavor crystals. That's great.
Well, you don't want it to be diluted, you know. You want to flavor that up.
You're
Or the
absolutely right.
dailies, or the daily missions, you gotta run like, you know, you need 120 of them just to get the earpiece. So I'm like, you can get like about 4 or 5 a day.
Yeah.
Days. I'll just raid. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some definite there's some WTF things when you look at the way what things cost and what it takes to get something.
Well, what about this? And I don't want to hijack this conversation, but we've been doing hard modes. We get Ricotta gear now, which is the highest end of the raiding gear. The Ricotta weapons are valued less than the T&E weapons.
That is hilarious. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
So the top tier weaponry in the game for raiding is valued under the lowest rung. So we just don't get it. I don't know.
There's definitely some inconsistency in itemization, like what the stats that are on like the supposed best gear isn't really the #1 stats you want. And I understand that the reason they do that is because when they put out another tier of content with more gear, they don't want it to be the same gear with higher numbers. They want it'll be towards the end when they're ready to put out an expansion that you start getting the gear that is like perfectly optimized. Like, yes, these are all the stats I want exactly. It's just so they can give you some variety. But it can be really annoying, especially right at the beginning when all the gear's like, I do not want this stat. Why are you giving me 80 of it?
See, unfortunately, I wish I could do titles on all these segments. Ricotta cheese is what somebody put into the comments.
Beautiful.
That would have been a nice Colbert Report style title for that segment. Get it, ricotta cheese? Spelled a little differently. Nice,
Classic.
very clever. Good job, audience. Good job, Sacred Heels. All right. We've got more discussion topics. Does anybody have any closing thoughts here? Cyborg Vertec, Sydor. Actually, is that what Sydor is? Cyborg Vertec? Oh my god.
My mind is blown.
I don't feel like
It's a cheap imitation.
It's a cheap imitation. Will the real Cyborg Vertex please stand up? Okay, I'm gonna shut up. But anyway, I think that's enough about this rage topic. You see, I think we can conclude that until we see numbers to back up the fact that people are raging and leaving, that it's not real. So basically, photos or it didn't happen. Let's go ahead and move to the next topic here on the discussion block, which is pulling up the article. Ding, 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 ding. Do you miss having a reputation system in TOR? This is coming from AskAJedi.com. In other titles that we played, a reputation system's in place where you get cred or you get hatred from various factions, and that unlocks certain benefits within the game, certain items, certain types of missions, that type of thing. Certain things are only available if a certain faction loves you or hates you. So, do you miss having a reputation system in TOR? The choices obviously are yes. It would add depth and alternate advancement. I'm going to say yes, because obviously that would, if it makes the game more in-depth and makes it more interesting, I'm okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and vote in here and see what the community thinks. 68% of the community saying no. They always end up being thinly veiled grinds. So people seeing straight through that are taking the survey, and 32% saying yes, it would add some depth. That is an interesting result that I did not expect from this poll. So 68% saying no, reputation systems are just additional ways to make you grind and to make you pay additional monthly payments. I'm going to open this up to all of you guys. Who's got thoughts on that? That's interesting.
Well, I think the only reason you would say yes is because you've never really experienced one and you didn't play WoW. That's the only reason you would say that yes.
I did not play WoW. No, it's one of those things where, in theory, if they did it right, it would be really cool.
In theory, yeah, it sounds cool.
But in theory, communism sounds cool.
It's just another bar you're trying to. Yeah, it's just another bar you're trying to get from 0 to 100 for no real reason. You don't really care. You just care because they've got that earpiece that's best for entering rating or whatever. Now, if they did something, beyond that, I don't know what it would be though. So I think there's plenty of grinds in this game that we don't need this other arbitrary one.
Yeah, personally, I wouldn't mind it if it wasn't something that took a month to grind. If it was something that you could go through a quest series and you finish that quest series.
You took an arrow to the head.
Yes, I did. I was a cool guy, and then I took an arrow to the head.
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. I'm sorry. Finish your thought. I'm a bit distracted by the fact that has to be painful, dude.
Feels great. Never felt better, sir. Took out all the bad parts, which was pretty much all of it.
Just have some wine and you'll be fine.
It's gonna start leaking here in a second. But what was I saying? I'd be fine with the system if it had, say, a solid quest line, and at the end of the quest line, you had to grind for maybe a week or something. Like just a quick grind, something to say like, yes, you committed some time to it, you invested yourself into getting that reputation specifically, but not like WoW's grind is ridiculous. I think, what was the most recent stuff? It took like 2 months to grind it if you did it every single day, and that was, what, 9 quests every single day?
By the way, Vertek, your head is frozen with a retarded look, like you're going, meow. Oh, dang it just came back. Yardy, hardy, hardy.
Right as you pointed out.
Oh man, you had a ridiculous look. I'm sorry. You're asking what the most I haven't played WoW really hardcore ever, so maybe some folks in the audience can answer that question. Or maybe some of you guys here can answer that question, what the recent reputation system looked like in WoW.
I don't remember the Cataclysm one, but I do remember the Sons of Hudir and Wrath, and I think everyone has painful memories of that one. It was 2 months straight of 9 quests a day, and they were really annoying quests.
The rich people just bought items off the auction house and turned them in.
Yeah, but you couldn't do that. I remember I grinded it before you could do that.
Yeah.
That was
that
was a foolish thing for me to do.
I had that faction when it was cool to have that faction.
Yeah, just so you know. Get my hipster comment in there.
Awesome.
Both ways.
The audience here on this discussion topic is more or less agreeing with you, MBD, saying that no, please no reputation system. A reputation said they don't want extra grind. Reputation grind is garbage. There's lots of stars here blocking the words that they're trying to express regarding a reputation system. Some people are saying that they are already hated by the Republic or the Empire, and that they have felt the effectiveness, and they feel like their story that they went through told them that they were, hated by a certain faction. It's been quite obvious. Or the Hutts hate them because they screwed over the Hutts in their story. So it's not really going to add depth to how they think about their character. A couple comments here saying. So that's kind of interesting. The story as it is was in-depth enough to where you don't need something like this to tell you they don't like you. They literally told you in a conversation multiple times that they don't like you, so now you know, which is way better than having a bar saying they don't like you. So that's a really good comments there from the community on that one.
Good point.
Yeah.
I would think they would be better served just developing maybe a third faction, or a neutral faction. So, for example, I want to say EverQuest. Yeah, so I want to say EverQuest 2 had something like this.
You mean like a playable neutral?
Yeah. So for example, there was I can't remember what it was in EverQuest 2, obviously before the heyday of WoW. But if you played certain classes, you could go into the player cities of the enemy, and you could do commerce, right? So you could sneak people in to do raids that were there. Or you could buy things that were there or stuff like that. So it would be. I always thought in my head they were going to do that with the smuggler, so the smuggler could get like their operation or their raid or their group or their team into hostile territory, so they could go do a mission that you had to have a smuggler for, right? And the counter to that, I thought that's what the Imperial agent would kind of do. And then I kind of figured that like maybe they could do something in the neutral zones like Nar Shaddaa or something where they could group up, like what was that book that came out last summer? It was a Star Wars book that didn't do very well relative to the others, like Deceive or whatever.
It's by
Fatal Alliance. Fatal Alliance.
Fatal Alliance? Okay.
Yeah, so basically, like, the Sith and the Jedi had to work together to go crush something. So little things like that, where I can't imagine they'd have to redesign the game necessarily, but they could just, obviously write those specific stories. And I think that would be totally cool. That way, they didn't necessarily recreate the wheel. They could, just focus on the stuff that they already have and basically develop inward. And if nothing else, that would give them another year extension right there, or 6-month extension right there.
Fair enough. Yeah. That would be really cool.
Along those
Vertec,
along
you're
those lines,
freaking tard, but he's got the kitty cat head up by right now, by the way. I'm sorry, go ahead, Danny.
I've got a couple of things. The first thing, I think the idea of a smuggler being able to like help the operation is to get somewhere special is a really good idea. Except the problem is like, oh, but my guild doesn't have a smuggler, and we want to do an 8-man raid without da. So there's that issue there. But as far as like combining the factions, I think that's really cool. I know City of Heroes, City of Villains, in their most recent expansion allowed that. There was a special raid where you could combine the two factions and you could group up the classes together, and they even had it where there was a quest line you could go through if you were a villain, and then you would become a hero. So you could have a villain class on the hero side and vice versa. And in that particular game, the classes were not mirrored, so it was even
that made it even more dynamic. Harder from a logistical perspective, definitely. Yeah.
But so they could certainly do a thing where a Jedi Knight actually falls, like a dark side Jedi Knight can actually go to the Empire, be on the Empire side.
Now that
you make it a huge quest line or something like that.
And they have that in the game, and they have that in some of the books, right? So I mean, I think that
and it wouldn't even be a huge technical thing because it's not like the classes are mirrors of each other. So
I really don't see. There's a comment here from Sacred Heels saying that George Lucas died. And I think what he's trying to say is that the second you suggested that, George Lucas, like literally just died. So
that's not accurate.
I don't know. I don't know if LucasArts would allow for that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hammer. I just had to pump that one in because that was a really good comment.
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably pretty much hit that one to death a little bit. But I just think that instead of trying to create something new or bring in some new system, these are things that, again, just from an IT development perspective, you've got these systems built. You just get, crack the whip on Dan Erickson and his cabal of writers and just say, hey, write stories that do this. And then you just, maybe a little bit of engineering rigor to, make, certain zones connect or something. But I just can't imagine that would be the same issue of just trying to implement a whole entire new system, right? It's just new quests.
Yeah, and make the transition difficult. I mean, like, make it a quest line and make it like, a 15-hour quest line to like switch over, so it's a big deal.
Fair enough. I think that's a fabulous idea. That is in my opinion, in my honest opinion, that is a down the road 5 to 6 years down the road for this game type of thing. That's not happening anytime soon.
No.
We have UI issues to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are number one issue.
They need to fix some balance tweaks. Yeah, they've got basic stuff that needs to be fixed. So, Vertec, do you have any thoughts on this? With that crazy, creepy kitty cat overlay that you have, I'm putting in full screen. Can you make your kitty cat mouth go like meow 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 meow? Look really weird.
Meow 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 meow.
Vertec bought a new webcam.
I love meow mix. Please deliver.
Oh my god, I love it. Amazing. All right. And that's the kind of show we're rolling with here. All right, we have another opinion question, and we're approaching the 1 hour mark on the show. So I want to go ahead and knock this out so we can get into our community question and our mailbag segment. So let's go ahead and move into the next one, which really very similar and ties into a lot of the stuff we're already talking about, right? What are your top 3 wishes for TOR? Oops, I clicked on an image. Internet wins this one. And what are your top 3 wishes? There's no poll here because there are so many wishes that could potentially be here. But let me ask you guys, what are your top 3 wishes for TOR? Audience, name them out in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think and what you guys want. What are your top 3? What are the most important? And this could be long-term or short-term. So first things first, I'm going to put the pressure on the Canadian. What you want, man? What's your top 3, baby?
All right, so number 1 is I want some improvements to the guild interface system. Turns out I want to be able to group with people who are in my guild. I want to be able to right-click on their name in the guild roster, and I want to say, hey, you, in my guild, invite.
No. You should just be able to right-click on their name and do everything else. I totally disagree.
I can set their member note, I can promote them or demote them, but I can't group with any of these people, and that's not cool, man.
They're already your guild mates. Why do you need to play with them? I don't what.
So they have to be my friends too. If I want to be able to click on them in a list and invite them.
Do /invite.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Make them throw dots
people
up in guild
chat. People have names that are
chat.
hard to spell. I don't like it.
I totally agree. Okay, let's go ahead.
2, I want the UI fix.
UI fix. So you want more customization, essentially?
I just want to be able to move things. I play on an iFinity card, so I play it like 5760 by 1080. So having my like across 3 monitors, right? So having like my one window on the very far left and the other window on the very far right, and my mini map over here and my companion stuff down here. I want to just consolidate it in the middle of the screen. I want to be able to move things. I want to be able to make them bigger and smaller, and that's what I want from the UI. I mean, I don't need mods right away. If the UI works, you don't need mods. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
As long as it's functional and you can do everything you want to do, then you know, more power to it. And 3, I want to be able to choose what Warzone I play.
Choose the Warzone. Nice ones. Okay, before we move into the next opinion, let me read some answers from the community here because there's a lot of answers. So a UI fix coming in from Mission Code, server transfer coming in from Nismonic, guild space combat coming in from Sathin, and I wish you could have blank, you mother effing blank in TOR. That's a good one. I made that one up, by the way. Guild ships coming in from Blue Road Sign. Server transfer coming up a number of times, a number of different people. Darth Brick also coming up with server swaps. Yeah, the LFG looking for guild. You don't want LFG. General chat is all looking for guild stuff. Fair enough. Server transfer is coming up as the #1 thing from the audience here, which is very, very interesting. And a group finder and space PvP. Wow, a lot of people posting that they want space combat and that they want UI modifications. Very interesting. So a lot of people agreeing with you. Who wants to go next on this one? Because I'm sure we all have our wish list. Vertec, kicking it over to you. You don't have that stupid cat head on anymore, so I don't know if I can take you seriously anymore.
Well, I mean, I can pull up a shark head, but...
Oh my god, give us the shark. Give us the shark. You don't have a neck, and give us your top 3, buddy. Okay,
top 3. I'm going to avoid what everybody else has already said and what Bioware's already said they are changing. So I'm going to go ahead and say, wow.
Are you looking at yourself right now?
I can jump in if he's getting stuck.
No, see, the guild thing is a big one for me, just because you got to be able to do more stuff when you right-click on somebody's name. So I mean, I was going to try and avoid what the people have already said and what BioWare said is already in the make. But man, that is the big. I would like to see more stuff with space combat, like, let's say, an instance. It would be a flashpoint or an operation where you start in like a space battle and you go and you like raid somebody's ship or something like that. Incorporate the space combat into more interesting situations. That would be a really nifty one for me, instead of just this random side thing that you can kind of use while leveling and then forget all about when you get to max level.
While you're talking the whole time, by the way, the comments are dun-dun, dun-dun, Dun, dun. Now he's an alien. Okay, he's throwing out too much crazy crap. There he is. He's back.
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference between the alien and Vertex.
Breaking my neck. Yeah, it had me like breaking my neck. I figured I may as well just go ahead and get rid of that. It was getting uncomfortable.
I got the runs to make you break your neck. Woo-ha!
All right, any other wishes from you, Vertex, before I move on to the next?
No, those are kind of like the big ones for me, really.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Those seem like fairly decent ones. Let's go ahead and kick it over to Lord Hammer, leader of Guild Umbra and master of all things nailing. What's your top 3, buddy?
I want to be able to hide my companion's helmet or headpiece or whatever so I can see their face. I don't know why, I just want to. Now that I'm level 50, I play dress up Barbie with my companions, trying to, get them all geared out. And
because they're worthless now?
Pretty much.
Right. Once you hit 50, your companions are basically completely worthless, except for doing crew skills for you, of course.
Right, so it's just dress up Barbie. Any kind of extra loot that nobody else needs, I just throw on them. But I want to hide their face, so that's one. The second thing is cross-faction communication. So whether that be through not a companion, through a smuggler or through the Imperial agent, I really thought that was going to happen. So I go back to that. I really would like that. Why? Because wouldn't it be great if you're just kind of chilling on the fleet or whatever you're doing, getting your purple bag for random credits, accommodations that will buy gear that's less than what you already have. And someone go, hey, excuse me, and it'd be like an Imperial agent, and whatever. I represent the interests of, I don't know, this other guild that is your nemesis, and we'd like to organize, a PvP match. That would be cool, right?
Yes, yeah, the social, obviously. That type of some sort of communication, some sort of mechanism to communicate has to be in place, and obviously the server forums are not fitting the bill, in your opinion.
Yeah, so that would be it. So some kind of cross communication, and whether it be some kind of game mechanic or quest or something.
All right.
And then finally, it's a mixture between the UI and the guild kind of thing. The guild management system is, we have no guild management system, so they need to create one. Right now we have a chat where you can give people different levels of chat.
Awesome. That's really, really cool. Yeah, that's a really sick feature. Okay, fair enough. A guild management system and a way to communicate with other people. So basically, your main concerns are the social elements and the communication-related elements in the game. Fair enough. A comment here from the audience that I want to drop is that the people in the audience thought that your #1 feature would be sending people to Drummond Koss randomly with an ability, a Dark Side 5 ability. That's sort of MBD's thing, but I know that you've really taken a liking to it. So MBD is, other than sending people to Drummond Koss randomly, which I'm sure you would support as well, what are your top 3?
Okay, well, you can obviously guess #1, UI and mods, and Sydor is absolutely right. If the UI is good, you don't need mods, but by opening up mods, you take a lot of pressure off yourself as a developer, and you can work on other things, and then you can see you watch your metrics and watch what the community does and watch what they really like, and then incorporate that yourself. So I don't think we're ever gonna get mods. I think we'll get UI customization, but this is wishes, right? So #2, Dungeon Finder and Raid Finder, absolutely. Those are just such a great feature, and it would just make things so it can be really difficult. Even when you have a big
explain
deal.
What that is? I've heard that, but I don't know what the Dungeon Finder is.
In WoW, you click Dungeon Finder, you go, I am a DPS and I want to do a heroic. You could pick which heroic you want to do, or you can pick I want to do a heroic, and you say bind, and it spins, and you go do whatever, just like when you're queuing up for a Warzone, and it pops up. It goes cross server. It finds you a tank, it finds you a healer, and it finds you another DPS, and then boom, it's like here's your raid, or here's your dungeon, and you enter it and you do it, and then you get your loot, and then you're done.
So it finds other people who want to find the same kind of thing that are the same level.
So there's no LFG or LFM in general chat trying to pick up a random dude. It just straight up gives you what you want.
Server, so it's much, as a DPS, you're waiting a while, but as a healer, a tank, boom, boom, instant group.
See, I gotta agree with Nismonic though in the chat. Like, for me, the cross-faction Dungeon Finder killed WoW for me. There's this like inverse relationship between the amount of accountability you have in a cross-faction dungeon when you're never going to see that person again. The douche factor in your group automatically goes up.
I actually did not experience that in when I use the Dungeon Finder, but I totally can see how that would happen.
Yeah, it's just like nobody started talking to you. If you didn't know exactly what you had to do for any given encounter, it was either people would rage quit after the first wipe, or you know, they
Kick
would
you.
like they would kick you because they could vote to kick.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know. It was I harken back to the days. I like the looking for group like window where you can list yourself as looking for a group, and you know, say, hey, I want to join your group.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I
So,
couldn't tell you how
I
many
mean, if
times
that
I've seen.
Maybe if that worked a little better across, maybe if that was cross server, it would be a little. You do a little work for it, but when you do click a button, you do get issues with people. You know, you get a group of 3 people that are queued up as a pre-made, and they'll just kick anybody, you know, right before the loot. So there are abuses to it.
Kick you before loot.
that's awesome. That's amazing.
That would happen. And,
Oh yeah.
so I liked it personally. I thought it was just the convenience level. Like a lot of times when I just want to, like, I just need to run. I just need one heroic and I can't find anybody. Like, boom, quick heroic, boom, done. So
Yeah,
there
if
is
you're a
that.
really good player and you knew what you were doing already, and you already knew all the instances, it was beneficial. But if you didn't,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how many times
It was hard for
I've
learning.
seen.
Couldn't
I
learn.
couldn't tell you how many times I saw one person say, "Hey guys, so what do I do? I haven't been in here before," and instantly
Kick.
it pops up,
Yes.
"Vote to kick."
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Creates,
you know, maybe if
yeah,
they leveled it
not a
up,
friendly
like, you'd be
environment.
like,
Mhm.
they also had options like, I am going to be the leader. Or like, maybe they could have things like, I am new, and like, you could do checks, allow new, I'm willing to teach somebody. Unfortunately, no one would ever check that, but you would have that.
I am kickable.
So, I mean, come on, how
I am
complicated is it, really?
kickable.
It's like you've never, in all fairness, like I've done many dungeons where I didn't know the mechanics, and 90% of the time, the only mechanic is don't stand in shit. And you will be just fine.
Fair enough. Yeah, if there's
Stand in the fire.
don't stand in the fire. Yeah.
Under my third thing that I wish I want guild ships with customization, much like the base builder in City of Villains, City of Heroes. That system also allowed enemy guilds to raid your base, and you would have to defend off your base from them.
See,
I thought that
would
was
be
an amazing
so
system.
cool. That would be so cool.
Yep, it was very, very cool.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my top 3.
There,
My top 3, they all have to do with PvP, and I've said this over and over and over again. I told James Olin, Stephen Reid, and David Bass to their faces, and my number 1 is still my number 1. There needs to be a replay feature for PvP, and my number 2 thing, there needs to be a real ELO ranking system for Star Wars: The Old Republic. And as far as PvP is concerned, and number 3, there needs to be cross-faction PvP. Those are the 3 things that need to happen for PvP in this game to become real, to become popular, and to become a factor that drives this game's growth forward. Without those types of things, PvP won't be a factor that drives this game's growth forward. It will only be PvE, and PvP-oriented players are going to leave if features like that are not implemented in a fairly timely manner. If you keep PvP on just a server and you don't do cross-server, after a while, people are just going to get bored of fighting the same people over and over and over again, and if there's no real ranking system in place to see who's best, that does not feed into the personalities of those types of people that play PvP. The people that play PvP play it because they want to be better than everyone else, and they want it to be listed officially and publicly that they are better than other people. That's the whole reason why they're doing it, and that's just absolutely critical, and without it, the PvP element of this game is going to fail. So those are my top 3 concerns. Do you guys have any other closing thoughts here on your wish list? Otherwise, we've got to do the trivia question and MBD's mailbag.
Negative.
I got nothing.
People are saying that no for cross-server PvP. In the comments, some people are saying cross-server PvP. There appears to be some arguments here as to whether cross-server PvP would be good. Guild houses is another one, and I think that the guild capital ships is something that's going to be like that. I think when they implement guild capital ships, it's going to be very, very, very limited, and it's probably just going to be something that you can hop on and like sit in chairs and maybe click some buttons to teleport to random planets and that type of thing.
yeah, I mean,
Why couldn't they
something
just...
very simple they could add. I think something very simple they could add. When the guild kills a boss, put like a trophy for the boss in the ship.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
It should
I
be
mean-
very simple to add and
Why
make a
could-
big difference.
Why couldn't they just do something as simple as copy the inside of like Zios Shadow or the Nova, whatever, and it's already looks like a ship to me. You know, just copy that and make those instanced. You know, buy a couple more servers, put them on a couple of VMs, and now every time you have a guild, if you do X things and have X money and you do these feats, you can have an instance, and then you just go there and you populate that. I just can't imagine that would be super hard.
You get an
the
instance, and you get an instance, and you get an instance.
Just
There
like
you
on
go.
Oprah. Just like on
The
Oprah.
only downfall of that though is that why go to that when you could just, I mean, they already have them populated in other areas. You can go and have a guild meeting with /say, or you can talk in /1 and talk to everybody else who's already on the fleet. I mean, there'd be no real reason to go there if it's exactly like one of the other ships. They'd need to add some kind of customization for you, your guild, or whatnot.
It's
No,
cool
no, I'm
because it's
saying-
your ship.
Yeah, I'm just saying use that as your base and then tweak it so you can customize that thing. I'm saying they don't have to go and have a bunch of coders create something new from scratch. They could just take that and give us that, and they'll give you the ability. And that's got to be what half of the work right there, half the design rigor, and then people can just add crap to that. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut you guys down on your top wishes. I think that we can brought up some really, really good topics here for these wishes. And thanks to the audience for participating in the discussion. And we need to move to our next segment because we're starting to run long here on the show. Vertex trivia question for the week. It is not a giveaway this week because I have run out of loot to give away. So, Vertex, what is your trivia question of the week? The person that wins this, do we want to promise them future loot or do we just want to promise them a trophy?
I was just gonna give them the same hat every week and just never really mail it. Just say, oh,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Evil.
No, but this week, if you win a trophy. And we actually have some prizes that we're trying to get a hold of, some digital-related prizes, and if we get extras of those, then we will send you one of those digital-related prizes, because that would be very easy to distribute to you. But I'm going to go ahead and kick this segment over to Vertex. He's got his giveaway question, and I'll let you explain the rules. Take it away, my friend.
All right. So as Awall said, this week there is no real giveaway, but that's the reason I kind of made this one a little bit easier than most. We do have some exciting stuff in the works for giveaways later on, though, so stay tuned. But this one, okay, first clue. I have 3 clues here lined up. First one is the planet was initially discovered by the Republic during the Great War. It was abandoned soon after. Abandoned soon after.
First correct answer in the comments will be the winner.
Give you about 20 seconds and I'll drop a second hint here. And it is, by the way, a planet that is in-game and explorable right now.
Let's see how many random guesses pop up here.
It's like a 1 in 17 chance.
Yeah, right. Okay, I see a couple. Okay, now the second clue is, years later, the Republic returned to the planet after the discovery of a chemical compound incredibly close to Venini Chadaga, which is hut venom, which is a primary ingredient in high-grade adrenals. Ultimately, they failed on their own and had to enlist help from the hut cartels.
I see a lot of planet guesses here. Did one of these people get it, bro?
Random planet from
Yeah, I just saw a
Random
string of
planet
correct
from
answers there.
Crixus.
Random planet. Nice. Yeah, I saw a string of correct answers there, but sorry, Xenon, you're correct, but I'm gonna go ahead and pass you by because you're Xenon. We're gonna pass you by.
Oh,
very nice.
Zenon.
You already won.
Beta
You already won
co-caster
something.
Zenon, post up your Twitter, Zenon.
We already know that you're the quiz master there. So, Desire, you're the next one in line there with Quesh. Quesh was the right answer.
You get this plastic trophy. Place caption here, your name right here. I will mail this to you at some point in the future, before this gold biodegrades. That's what I will promise. Congratulations. You are a winner.
Oop, go ahead.
No, I'm good. Dude,
Oh,
Vertex.
I was gonna say, Xenon, we love you and all, but I'm gonna go ahead and disqualify you because you're on the cast all the time, sir. You're not allowed to win.
Oh man, that's gotta hurt.
He can't win anyway because we only mail it within the continental United States.
That's true. And
True story.
these trophies are very heavy. They are made of pure gold. Vertec, thank you once again for the trivia question, and it will be much. And like we said earlier, like Vertec said earlier, he's working on some sick prizes to give away for future trivia questions. So stay tuned for more. Let's go ahead and move into the next segment, which is MBD's mailbag. I've got the image pulled up right now, MBD, with the email address and your Twitter. So I will let you take it away, my friend, and explain your segment.
All right, it's very simple. You email me at that address right there, and we bring it up, we talk about it, we answer your question. You can also tweet me at that address there all through the week, and I'll respond, and we'll have a nice talk about SWTOR, or whatever you want to talk about. So, first, this question this week is actually, what do you guys think about the white lightsaber issue that came up over the past week or so on the forums? That's a pretty loaded question. I don't know if is everyone aware of the whole white lightsaber thing?
For folks that are not, explain it for everyone so everybody is on the same page.
Well, basically, there was this person, he posted on the forum that he got a white lightsaber crystal, and he showed screenshots, and he was live streaming with the white lightsaber crystal, and it seemed legit, and he would not tell anyone how he got it. And he was just being very tight-lipped. He dropped a couple of secrets. People were watching him thoroughly. He was being kind of, I don't know, he wasn't really being a douche, but he was being really weird about it on the forums. And finally, BioWare came in and said, hey, I don't know how he did not get this legitimately. He did a series of exploits to get the white lightsaber crystal. They wouldn't say what they were, obviously, because they don't want people doing them. They took the lightsaber crystal away from him. They suspended him, and the question goes on to ask, how do we feel about this? Do we think BioWare did the right thing suspending them? And there's a question directed directly at you, Hammer. As a guild leader, how do you feel would you feel if somebody in your guild performed something like this? Do you feel it would look badly on the guild, and what would your reaction overall would be?
Right. So the first thing I'd have to do is assess how did he get it, and is it even a violation? Because for example, if someone said a couple weeks ago, "Hey, I got this magenta crystal." Okay, so apparently that's something that you can actually quest for. So I'd have to investigate to see. Initially, my reaction would be like, "Oh, cool. Where do I get one?" Right? And then something would come up like, "Well, you're not supposed to have that." If I found out that it was through some kind of nefarious exploit, then yeah, I'd have to G-kick him. I'd boot him out the guild. Right. We have a zero tolerance policy.
Was it proved that it was nefarious? I guess to go ahead and put that out of the way in this discussion, MBD. Like, what methods did this guy use to acquire said lightsaber crystals?
Nobody really knows but him. BioWare is not talking. They say, because the white lightsaber crystal was available in beta, there was a world boss you could kill for it. It was removed, and basically, Stephen Reid posted, he said he did a series of complicated exploits to get it. We removed it from him. We shut him down. So, according to BioWare, yes, he did. And it's hard to say whether it was an accidental exploit or not. From what they've said, it seems like it was a series of complicated exploits. So it clearly was not accidental. He clearly knew he wasn't supposed to be doing this. So in that case, I think the suspension is totally warranted. Certainly taking it away is warranted. Yeah, it sucks. You had it, but it'll be back. We will all have access to the white lightsaber crystal in the future. They have said. So really? It's hard to know. They're not going to explain what he did, because then people will just do it. So, and then it's hard to, he's like, oh, maybe did he really do anything wrong? Because they can't explain it. So it's a rough situation for BioWare, I think.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. What do you think, Vertec?
I was gonna say, yeah, they're not gonna tell anybody, oh, by the way, here's how you hack it. Like, they're not gonna outright advertise that, kind of like before launch, when they're asking them, okay, so what security measures do you have in place to protect people from hacking accounts? Well, if we told you that, half of them wouldn't be security measures anymore.
Right.
Fair enough. Sydor, do you have any thoughts on this issue, or are you just basically thinking to yourself, note to self, get white lightsaber crystal?
Learn lead hacks. That's my note to self.
Fair enough. Somebody saying in the comments, Nizmonic saying that he wants a black and white lightsaber. That would be pretty awesome. That would be pretty broad. And let me ask you this crystal,
would be.
Can you, is it something available to change like your blaster bolt color as well?
Yep.
Yeah, it did that as well. It worked just like every other crystal.
Awesome. That's awesome.
But there was no schematic, which was the interesting thing about it. It was only a drop. There's no schematic for it anywhere in the data that anyone can find.
I'm just really curious to know what this complicated series of exploits was. If this guy wasn't hacksawing things directly, hacksawing the game directly, I mean, was he just completing a certain number of missions in a certain way? I mean, it really just intrigues me, I just want to know more.
Who knows, really?
It's one of those things, be careful what you wish for, because, like, once you're like, I figured it out! Hello?
Oh,
Hello?
now I'm banned.
Fair
Was
enough.
it worth it? So, I think the moral is just don't exploit. Be nice.
They banned one guy who was live streaming beta while he was live streaming it, you know, so you don't want to be that
hilarious.
guy. You don't want to be that guy.
No, you don't want to be that guy. That was embarrassing for me. But all right, cool. That was a good mailbag question. And by the way, guys, friendly reminder right here. If you want to send in your questions, you guys want us to talk about it on the show, send interesting ones, and you know what kind of sense of humor we have. Send them on in, and MBD, tell them about your Twitter once again. People should follow you because you're like answering their questions and stuff or something.
Oh yeah, you totally follow me. MBD TGN, follow me. I will answer your questions. I'm randomly posting up specs and builds and just random SWTOR stuff. So, I'm actually far more responsive on my Twitter than I am through the email. So if you have a direct question you want to ask us and you want a topic you want up on the show, just follow me and shoot me a tweet, and we'll get it up here. Right on. Thank you, MBD. Thank you, Vertec, for those special segments. And we are getting towards the end of the show, and somebody's asking a question. Mic'd Pro, is this live? Is this question? It's live. So let's go ahead and go back over to Sydor. Sydor, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm pulling up your website and stuff here. If people want to catch up with you and all of your Canadian madness, and you know, to find out what you're all about, how can they find you, and where should they be looking? I'm pulling up your website right now on the stream.
Yeah, if you want to find us, you can head over to www.keyboardheroes.ca, or you can follow us on Twitter at keyboard_heroes. If you want to check us out, we are on the Vulcar Highway server, otherwise known as the Vulgar Highway server, with all the scum and villainy guilds from Bootleg Radio. Yeah, we're looking for more members, so if you are an adult Empire player and you want a place where you can kind of be hardcore without the hardcore approach, that's kind of what we're all about. So yeah, come on over, check us out at keyboardheroes.ca, or find us on the game on the Vulcar Highway server, man.
Right on, right on. Thank you so much for joining us, bro. I really, really appreciate it. And
thanks for having me.
You got it. Everybody out there watching this on YouTube, when I post this up later, links in the video description below to Sydor, Keyboard Heroes, everything related to his site. Check it out, get involved, and so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna ask you guys to go ahead and do an awkward goodbye, and then I will wrap up the show.
Bye.
Bye. Sydor's like not in on it. He's like, what?
I'm sad that
I didn't know if it was them guys or me guys. I don't know.
Just use guys.
Bye.
All right,
Have a good one.
Once again, thank you to my co-hosts MBD, Vertec, and Hammer. As always, super entertaining. Vertec bringing up the cool graphics.
Hi guys.
Your head looks funny like that. Make your head do stuff. Your head just did stuff.
He doesn't really talk very well here.
No, he doesn't. Make your mouth like do exaggerated movements, and let's see what his face does. Ow, ow, ow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just a weird, awkward. It kind of looks like that cartoon with "My spoon is too big." It looks like that.
Oh no, not him. Oh dear. I have nightmares about him. I'm shutting this off now.
Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe to the TGN SWTOR channel, link in the video description below. We're posting episodes like this all the time. Also a link in the video description below to my live stream. Everybody watching this live, be sure to follow us every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Project TOR is the ultimate SWTOR community show. This sucker's live. We got giveaways, and this is a good way for you to interact with us, to have your opinion heard, and basically to talk with just huge, really important, ridiculously good-looking celebrities. Alright, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm going to sign out, and I will see you on my live stream, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye. Oh, yeah. Boom sucker.
Boom sucker.
Boom.
Sucker.